Section 2.6, Two Quantitative Variables, Linear Regression, Video 3. In the last video, we talked about what the intercept meant in the context of a problem. But now let's talk about what the slope means. In order to talk about what the slope means, I want to take you on a brief journey back to college algebra or high school algebra. Most people remember that slope is rise over run. And what that means is when you have a line and 2 points, the run is the amount that you travel in the horizontal direction, and the rise is the amount that you travel in the vertical direction. And the ratio of rise to run gives you the slope. Well, if we have a slope, we can disassemble it back into a rise over run and interpret it contextually. So what does this slope mean? Slope equals 0.182. Now, that's not a fraction, and we could turn it into a fraction. The easiest way to do that is to put it over 1. But let's think about what this means visually in terms of the line. What a slope of 0.182 means is if we have 2 points on the line, and one of them, to get from one to the other, you run 1, then you would also rise 0.182. But what do these numbers mean? Well, the run being in the horizontal direction is a measurement of the bill, specifically how much a bill is changing. And the rise going in a vertical direction is a measurement of how much the tip changes. So loosely speaking, this means that if the bill goes up by $1, we predict that the tip would go up by about 18 cents. So the way that you interpret the slope is if the bill increases $1, we predict the tip to increase an average of 18 cents. Which actually isn't that unreasonable. That's an 18% tipping rate. And you can always interpret the slope this way. The only thing you have to be careful of is if your slope is negative. Because if your slope is negative, then your line's going down, which means as your x gets bigger, your y gets smaller. So had this been negative, it wasn't. But had it been negative, then we would simply change the word increase to decrease. Now, how do we interpret this in general? Well, we do the exact same thing. If we think of the slope as a fraction over 1, then we can interpret the slope to mean the following. The slope is the predicted change in the response variable if the explanatory variable increases by 1 unit. Whatever that unit is, whether it's feet, inches, dollars, seconds, alkalinity, whatever. But that's what slope means, or that's how slope can be interpreted in the context of the linear regression. It predicts how much this will go up when this goes up by 1 unit.